It's Ron Reader digs the universe. I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe, and tonight, the rise of democratic socialism. A couple decades back, in the mid-2000s, I was playing around with the idea of calling myself a socialist, sometimes just to fuck with conservatives. I mean, the Soviet Union's fall and the corporatization of China had signaled the failure of totalitarian socialism. You know, there was no longer a militarized, world-dominating commie threat to the American way of life. The Cold War was over. So, old school red baiting, over which I think the conservatives will never get, in theory no longer had any cultural power. Thus, hey bitches, I'm a socialist. I'm having the vapors. Please, somebody take me to my fainting couch. At least that was the idea. Turns out, though, that at that point in my life, I had essentially stopped hanging out with any conservatives who were well-read enough to take the bait, a great trolling idea on my part that I never really got to use. Little did I realize back in the day that 20 years later, I would get to see conservatives trolled by scary socialists every day, all day long on television and the internet. According to a recent CNN poll, fully a third of the Democratic Party now describes itself as being democratic socialists, and that fits with what we've been seeing in the news. AOC being talked about as potentially the next Democratic nominee for president, Mamdani becoming New York City's mayor, along with multiple self-described democratic socialists winning Democratic primaries across the nation. Socialism is in the air, and it's tripping Republicans the fuck out. I mean, I get to watch all these Ted Cruz posts scrolling through my Facebook feed, and the dude is in a total panic about it, sort of making a false equivalency between Stalinist totalitarianism and American democratic socialism. A few Democrats are having knee-jerk, better dead than red reactions too, dutifully displaying their devotion to capitalism as though they were being stalked by the ghost of Joseph McCarthy or something. Carville says he'll quit the party if the socialists take over. Well, good riddance. The hilarious thing here is that democratic socialists aren't scary at all. I mean, unless you're a billionaire. The billionaires, they should be afraid. Everybody else, though, well, this is all old school stuff for America. As economist Paul Krugman once observed when he said that Bernie Sanders is far more of a democratic New Dealer than he is a socialist. These socialists want better health care, lower rent, clean energy, better pay, fewer hours, and so on. They don't want a revolution. They just want to make our lives better. I'm Ron Reader, and this has been Ron Reader Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reader, again next week for another episode of Ron Reader Digs the Universe.